All right, thank you. Seated. All right, your next question.
Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 155.
Okay.
That's the makeup palette.
Oh, okay. Any objection to that?
No objection.
All right, 155 in evidence. Do we have it?
I think it's there. We had pictures for.
All right, thank you. All right, 155 in evidence. 155, yeah. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michelle, can you bring up Depp Exhibit number 357B as in boy, plaintiff's exhibit, and it is a tape recording from June 2016. The timestamps are 4:47 to 7:52.
All right. Is that in evidence yet?
I'm going to move the admission of it.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
was that going to be for the whole 357 or is that 357A or is that?
That's just B. I have that as
B.
B as in boy. I think there was a portion that
Okay,
was.
357B. Any objection to 357B?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 357B in evidence. Thank you.
I can just tell you the basic facts is like it was private for days after I filed. You did not have to file. That's not a move that the other party has to make.
Okay.
And it's just not.
Okay.
And you did.
Okay.
Well, your team did.
Okay.
And then within 5 minutes, it was private in T&Z. You just do the math yourself without any other thing, and it's very clear.
Okay.
And I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that. And if that's the case, I'll acknowledge it. And if you say proof, then I'll acknowledge it. Look, it doesn't shock me that any fucking
Yeah, it seems to make sense.
attorney would do something like that. It doesn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't shock me. But I'm telling you now, if they file the fucking papers tomorrow, which means the shit I gotta file before we go to court on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
If they file those papers, it's first of all, it's very bad for both of us. Okay.
Well, your team's gonna file anything that they think is bad for you. Trust me.
No, you're what you're saying. You got to do something to protect yourself, which means throwing me under the bus for some video about me being.
Not me. I have to respond. Legally, meaning I'll have to go and pursue I have to pursue the whole course of action, because here's what you don't understand. If we do this, and no, because I called my lawyers and I said, why aren't we negotiating more? What is going on? Where are we? And they're like, everything is in their court.
They won't settle. Your agents won't. Your lawyers won't settle, baby. I'm telling you.
No, we want to mediate. We even have a mediator. We even found mediators and everything. Like that was all worked out. So the thing that Laura didn't agree to was she did not want to agree to a mutual gag order, and that's the problem. Like she doesn't want the gag order. Why, Johnny? Why? Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she want both parties not to talk about this in the press? By the way, just talking about the press, not even talking about the court.
Okay,
Why?
I'll tell you what, Amber. Let me get on that right now. I'll fucking get on it right now, and I'll get a message back to you somehow. Just but I'll get on it right now.
I just want you to know I've not done anything and have not been doing any moves. Let's look it up, timeline. Nothing was on the offense. Everything's been a defensive move because I'm being called a liar and a gold digger. And I'm not lying about any of this shit. And I am not after a dime of your money. And
Do you remember when you had this discussion with Mr. Depp?
Yes,
When was that?
I believe that was June of 2016. So after the divorce, while we still had the restraining order.
And what, if anything, was going on with respect to a gag order at that point?
Objection calls for speculation.
I'm asking her. I haven't.
All right, overruled. Good.
I was trying to get Johnny to stop the smear campaign that he
Objection, Your
launched.
Honor. Hearsay. Lack of foundation.
What, if any, discussion did you have with him about a smear campaign?
Johnny told me that he would ruin me, that no one would ever touch me, meaning professionally, no one would ever work with me again, that I'd never work again, that I'd be selling Depends, is what he said, and that he'd ruin my career, and he refused to not engage with, up until that point, he refused to not engage with the press by leaking.
Objection, Your Honor.
false-
Calls for speculation.
How is that speculation?
This is what he's telling her, correct?
Right.
Okay, all right, I'll overrule the objection.
And up until that point, I was trying to, get him to call the dogs off, call it off, because it was forcing me into a position where he was calling me a liar and he was forcing me to prove it. And I knew that wasn't going to be good for him. And I kept saying, don't make me prove it. I don't want to. But he was calling me a liar and having a really sophisticated, very, very well paid, very sophisticated PR machine.
Objection, Your
Going
Honor.
over
Calls
time.
for
All
speculation.
right, I'll sustain the objection.
I'll move on. Let's go to Depp exhibit, that's Plaintiff's Exhibit 357C. That's 12:30 to 16:30. I'm going to move the admission.
Any objection?
No objection, Your
All
Honor.
right, 357C in evidence.
All right. Michelle, if you can play.
I'm not, it's not about that. It would not be about me throwing you under the bus. You know what it would be? It would be released through documented people coming on the record and having the protection to do so that haven't had yet. It would be eyewitness statements. It would be evidence, tons of it, and it would be through years. And it would be unbelievable to imagine that either I'm in a secret fake club, or B, I've had
A secret what?
I've had a secret fight club, or that I have been plotting to do this for for 3 years, and taking pictures of it and documenting it, just saving it up for the right time when I'm not asking for any money and have nothing financial to gain from it. But no one is going to believe that. No one is going to believe that one of the two alternatives, either I'm in a fight club, or I've been going through hair and makeup, or going through makeup through all these years, where I have corroborating text messages between people that match those dates of those timestamp validated photos of either corroboration between people hearing us, or corroboration of next day, Whitney sending text message to Kevin, him responding, or the kind of stuff like between me and people in your life. It is insanely cross-corroborated, and it is a plan. I'm going to put makeup on myself and take pictures throughout years and just sit on it for years. While having this imaginary life run parallel to it. You understand that the pictures I have match with text messages to my mom back and forth about it, and text messages between, say, Raquel and my mom, or Raquel and my dad, or, between my two friends. Or there's a text message where I tell Jody the night before I had that James Corden night show thing, where I say, hey, Jody, I've had an accident. I think I have a busted lip. I may have a busted nose and 2 black eyes tomorrow because I don't know how bad it will be until the morning every day. So, but here, I don't know how. I think I'll let you know in the morning, and things like that. It doesn't matter. There is nothing, and all of that won't be me throwing you in the spot. That will be evidence in this case, which it will be criminal as well, because I cannot go on Friday and file without filing a police statement first. And the only reason I haven't filed that police statement, which has been used against me, by the way, every day, and the only reason I won't do it, I haven't done it, is because I don't want to hurt you, and that means it goes out of my hands. And the third party prosecutor come and a criminal lawyer come, and they went, like, the problem is, hearing from you, like, your biggest struggle is that this is just, it's the most solid evidence case of domestic violence I've ever seen. And if you give this over to them or present any part of it, they will prosecute him. And I felt like I'm not, like, I would never want that for you. It's hard for me to even understand. I don't call it, like, so in my head, it's hard for me to even accept any sort of victimdom ever.
Can you please explain what the context of this was?
I
don't know. I don't freaking believe her. I don't believe anything she freaking says.
make me prove
Sorry.
what I've had to sit on the stand in front of all of you and prove and talk about. I was begging not to do this and have to sit where I'm sitting today. I didn't want this. I don't want to be here. I didn't want to be there then. And I was trying to point out something to somebody who I thought did not have a firm grasp on reality.
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled. Good.
Thank you.
I was trying to point out how absurd it would be for him to keep making me prove this by calling me a liar. I was trying to get him to not call me a liar because everything that I had said to date and everything I've said to date now is the truth. And I was begging him not to make me prove it, that there were photos, that there were witnesses, that there was my testimony. There were years of me with injuries on the dates where we were fighting, and they were documented. I mean, pictures from 2012. So I was trying to say to him, either you'd suppose that people would rather believe this is a hoax, elaborate, well-orchestrated, year-long campaign for what? Or that, what? It just seemed crazy. And I thought no one was advising him in his best interest. I thought no one was telling him the truth. I know he's surrounded by yes men, and I thought nobody was saying to Johnny, this is crazy, don't do this. And I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want to hurt him. I loved him. I loved him so much. That's why I'm explaining to him why I didn't file criminal charges. I didn't file a police report, even though it was being used against me. I didn't want this to go to a prosecutor. I didn't want this to hurt Johnny. I don't want this to hurt Johnny.
Michelle, can you bring up,
But that's why you're countersuing for $100 million, right?
and that is 17:25 to 17:37. I'm going to move the admission, Your Honor.
All right, any
No
objection?
objection.
What was a drama? Can you feel that in the air?
70.
I've
Baby.
been called a liar,
Baby,
and I've been called a
baby,
gold digger.
baby,
Everyone is.
baby. Amber, I didn't call you those things. I didn't call you those things.
Baby,
I'm going to go on now to, can we go to plaintiff's exhibit 357E? And this is 21:47 to 22:37. I'm going to move the admission, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
357E. Thank you.
And you're stronger. And so when I say that I thought you could kill me, that doesn't mean you counter with you also, that you lost your own finger. I am not trying to attack you here. I'm just trying to point out the fact of why I said call 911. Because you had your hands on me, I've been on the phone in my face, and I had gotten crazy in the past, and I truly thought I need to stop this madness before I get hurt.
Oh my God.
And I never think about myself that way. I never defend myself that way. I never see myself as a victim. It's your fault, you know?
All right. Yeah.
And I, when they came, I did not cooperate with them. It has been used against me, not by the media, by your side.
And what are you referring to there?
That I don't want to call myself a victim. I don't like to think of myself as a victim, and I don't want him to think I'm attacking him or blaming him. I'm pointing out I didn't cooperate with the police, that I didn't want to get him in trouble, that I didn't want to hurt him. I don't want anything from him. Just don't call me a liar. It's all I said. Just don't call me a liar. Just don't say this isn't real. Because I'm the walking proof of it.
I'm going to ask to bring up plaintiff's exhibit, Depp exhibit 357F as in Frank, 24:04 to 24:48, and move the admission.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
All right, 357F.
I have said only this from the very beginning. I only have my integrity. And the unfortunate thing is,
What about mine?
taking it a step further,
What about mine?
they keep taking, that's what it keeps, I'm trying to say to you, literally in words, I'm out of my mouth, that's what I'm trying to say to you. Every step of the way, I have said to them, the thing is, they're hurting Johnny by this, because every time that they call me a liar, or they say this is not true, or even this text message did not actually happen, or that your security guard, who by the way was a follow-up to your security guard thing, they never saw abuse happening. The same security guard who, by the way, have said to me multiple times that I was going to get killed.
And what are you talking about there, Amber?
That even though Johnny told me that his guards would say whatever he needed them to say, that they were the same guards who had told me that I would lose my life
Objection, Your
this
Honor.
way.
Hearsay.
All right, sustained objection.
It came in through the tape, so that's all right. We're fine. Let's go, Michelle.
Your
let's
Honor.
go to-
If we could approach, please.
I'm sorry. Michelle, can you bring up Depp Exhibit 357G, plaintiff's 357G, and it's 26:00 to 26:28. Oh, move the admission. I'm sorry.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
Oh, obviously, they're going to have to say they didn't see it in front of me and other people that have heard them.
You're gonna have to do this under oath too, you know.
I will, because the unfortunate part is, I can talk about all of this.
Do you believe all this, Amber? Do you believe all this?
Oh, yeah, the stuff that, yes.
You believe I'm an abuser. You believe I'm an abuser.
In May, in December, in April.
What were you referring to with the May, December, and April?
just listing some of the times in which he beat me up and that he knew about.
So I'm going to take you now fast forward into the July 2016 timeframe. There was a mediation that came about during that time. What, if any, intent did you have to reconcile with Mr. Depp at the time of the mediation?
I wanted there to be no animosity. I wanted to minimize animosity. I wanted to reconcile in that way. I didn't want to get back together with him, if that makes sense.
Okay. Can you just briefly describe what transpired during the July mediation?
Even though I had a TRO and I wanted to move on with my life, the campaign I mentioned earlier, the smear campaign, the article after article, the hounding me, the, leaking fake.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
All right, I sustain the objection.
Okay. Please explain.
What I was meeting with him about is because he had, put these things out in the media. It seemed like every day
Objection,
there
Your
was a new
Honor.
attack.
Calls for speculation, lack of foundation.
All right.
Did Mr. Depp discuss with you that he was putting these out in the media?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, I'll allow it.
Yes.
Okay, please explain.
He told me he would tell his team to back off and to back off effectively if I agreed to do certain things. One of which, he wanted me to drop charges. He wanted, or some version of that. He wanted me to get back together with him and go on tour with him in the tour bus. He wanted me to do certain things that I thought were impossible and that would definitely go against all of everything that I stood for and had earned in getting my TRO, getting my restraining order and moving on. But I had to break the TRO in order to beg him to stop the machine, the press machine, because I was feeling like I couldn't live my life. I was being dropped from commercial opportunities. People were turning on me. A campaign I shot dropped me. I mean, it was just,
you.
I had never been inundated with that much press. Every single day, me and my family were, and every witness, anyone who even indirectly supported me got bombarded. And the media
Objection.
campaigns.
Calls for speculation, lack of foundation.
I'll sustain just the last part of that. All right.
Okay.
Next question.
Okay. We heard Christian Carino testify earlier. Can you describe to the jury what your relationship was with Christian Carino?
He was my commercial agent, meaning he handled things like campaigns for a short amount of time, and then became Johnny's agent around the time of the divorce. He was a kind of mutual friend at the time between Johnny and I, and so he helped us kind of negotiate or mediate a time where we could meet. And my goal in that was to just beg Johnny to stop doing this.
Objection, non-responsive.
Overruled. That's right.
What, if any, desire did you have to return to Mr. Depp after the divorce?
None.
Now, you heard Mr. White testify that he engaged in negotiations with you during the settlement process of the divorce. What, if any, discussions did you have with Mr. White?
None. The first time I saw him was on the testimony screen in the UK during the UK trial. I've never spoken to him.
So he didn't negotiate your settlement?
No, he did not.
What was important to you in the divorce negotiations?
The statement. That was it. The statement. I wanted a mutual statement, and I wanted him to call get the press out of this. Just make a statement. And in that statement, clear my name. I wanted to clear my name. It's all I have. I said this to him too, and he knew this. All I have is my name. I come from nothing. All I have is my integrity. All I have is my name. And that's exactly what he promised to take from me.
Why did you agree to accept $7 million as your settlement?
I didn't care about the money. I was told if I didn't agree to a number, that it could be overturned, that this would never actually, it would never get completed, would never settle.
Objection,
And then it would be
hearsay.
overturned.
What
All
was
right,
your
Sustained, go ahead.
what was your understanding?
That if I didn't agree to a number, it would be overturned. So I took far less than what they were offering and what I was entitled to.
And why did you donate it to charity?
I promised the entirety of it to charity because I was never interested in Johnny's money. And in the divorce, I just wanted my safety. I wanted to move on from my life. I wanted my future. And then he started compromising that, calling me a liar, making it impossible for me to move on. By doing so that I wanted the truth. I wanted him to clear my name and to leave me alone. I've been saying that since 2016.
So why did you donate 3.5 to Children's Hospital and 3.5 to ACLU?
Well, I pledged the first half, or 3.5, to Children's Hospital because I've been working there as a volunteer for well over a decade. I knew the facility well. I'd worked there with another nonprofit is how I got affiliated with them. And I knew they could use the resources. I was familiar with it. And
What about the ACLU?
And then ACLU, because I was a supporter, because I believed in the work that we're doing. I believed that they were doing good work for people who deserved it.
Why did you make the donations over a period of time as opposed to just a lump sum?
Two reasons. The short of it is because I was receiving the settlement in installments. I was receiving the installments over time. Second of all, so I could get the tax benefit of paying over time. You know, it's my understanding that's how you pay these like large sums. You pay it over time.
Did you make any payments towards these donations?
I did.
Okay. Approximately how much?
I allowed for the first installment, which is $100,000 to each. That came straight from Johnny in 2016. I followed up with $350,000 that year, 2016. 2018, I did another. Oh, and I also donated to $250,000 to Art of Elysium, which is the affiliate I was just speaking about, that does the work in the Children's Hospital. It was not going to count towards my overall pledge, but I did that too. And then I did another donation to each in 2018. And then Johnny sued me, 2019.
Before we get to that, did anyone make donations to the Children's Hospital or ACLU on your behalf during that time period?
Yes, Elon also, Elon, who was my boyfriend at the time, had his own charitable contributions that he made. And he made $500,000 to both in my honor, in my name, in 2017, I believe.
And have you completely fulfilled your donations to the ACLU and the Children's Hospital?
I have not yet.
And why not?
Because Johnny sued me for $50 million in March of 2019. And I have spent over $6 million.
Objection, Your Honor. This is a motion in limine.
That part was supposed to come in.
All right, once you come forward, let's take a look.
Another sidebar. Yeah, so little birdie's asking, what are the cliff notes on this? I'm like, basically she's lying. She's a drama queen. At least I think she's lying. Total drama queen. Again, she gets herself to that point where like she's supposed to start crying, but never does. You know what I mean? Just don't believe her. You know, we've said it before. This was not a perfect situation. And he's got his faults too. But all that crap she's alleging, I mean, you know, we weren't there, right? But I don't know. I don't see it. I don't get it. I don't. What did you hear what Chris Rock said? He was doing a show this weekend, and he was like, believe her, you know, talking about women, right? Believe her, except Amber. And she's just, I don't know, she's not doing herself any favors. I think they have her up there way too long. You know, they're trying for her to get out all this fighting that happened. But I don't think it's doing her any favors. I don't think it's working on her. I don't think it's working for her. By the way, I put a couple of t-shirts up. Did you guys see those? I had to do it. I was like, somebody suggested it. That one was awesome. When the prosecutor was hitting Johnny Depp on something, like, you were there, you saw this happen or something. And Johnny responded to him like, you were there? And then the objections by his attorney. I just love it. I love that woman. She got her finger on that microphone. Right? Objection. Objection. Hearsay. Objection. Objection. Hearsay. Anyway, I got a couple of those on there if you want to check out the site. It's manniesmerch.com. So we'll see. Man, I wish there was a microphone. It'd be nice if they forget to turn off the mic sometimes when they're all right, they're done. All right, here we go.
So going back to that, then, could you afford to continue making payments to the ACLU and Children's Hospital?
No.
Okay. What, if any, intention do you have to fulfill your pledges and donations to these organizations?
I still fully intend to honor all of my pledges. I would love for him to stop suing me so I can.
What, if any, deadlines are there on your pledges and donations to the ACLU or the Children's Hospital?
There are none. They understand.
Okay. Now, let's go to Defendant's Exhibit 1458, which is already admitted. Now, I'm going to just direct your attention to paragraph 27, where it says, neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. There was never any intent of physical or emotional harm. Amber wishes the best for Johnny in the future. What, if any, significance did that have?
I was saying, must be nice to be able to drop $250,000 a few times a year to different charities.
That was the most important thing in the separation agreement between us, is that he acknowledged that I hadn't made a single false claim, that my allegations were not false. I thought that just because he signed his name to it, he'd honor it. I mean, he signed his name to it, and I thought it would mean something.
All
He
right.
acknowledges that I never did it. I mean, I never made a false claim, and I didn't do it for financial gain. And that's what I was being called at the time, a gold digger and a liar.
Thank you. We can take this down, Michelle, and I'm going to now take you to post-divorce and your career. Please describe for the jury how your career evolved after the divorce, which I think was final in February 2017.
I had to fight really hard to keep my career. After I got my TRO, I lost opportunities. I got canceled from jobs. I got dropped from campaign I'd shot. I was told I was going to be dropped from.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sustained objection.
I fought to keep my job in a movie the biggest movie opportunity I had to date.
Which was what?
It was Justice League with the option to become Aquaman. It later became Aquaman. But I had to fight really hard to stay even in Justice League because that was right around the time of the divorce.
Can you tell the jury what Justice League was and what your role was in that?
It is a superhero franchise, DC action film, and it introduced my character, and it provided the base for the Aquaman spinoff that followed it, but that was not a reality at the time of shooting Justice League.
And then you were able to be an Aquaman, is that correct?
Yes, I kind of showed up to work months early and stayed really late to fight to keep the job. I managed to keep it, and managed slowly to kind of to gain through this kind of hard work and goodwill I was able to foster. I was able to keep and make other jobs, and eventually made a movie called Aquaman, and Aquaman was very successful. I think it was the most successful DC film by its release. And I was getting my career back, even though it was, it took a major hit when I got my restraining order against Johnny.
So let's talk about Aquaman for a moment. I think you said it was the highest grossing film of DC films. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. When did that come out?
December of 2018.
Okay. And what was your role in Aquaman?
I play Mira.
And was that a lead role?
Yes, it is one of the leading roles. It's the female lead opposite Jason Momoa's character of Aquaman.
So you were his mate?
You could say that, yes. I was his love interest, the female, I was a female lead of the movie.
Okay. So in December of 2018, as Aquaman's coming out, why did you agree to participate in the op-ed?
Well, because I believed in some of the causes that the op-ed was seeking to advance. There was a lot of attention and energy around gender-based issues, gender-based violence issues in general. I had just recently become an ambassador for the ACLU. I was proud of that ambassadorship, and I was looking forward to the opportunity to lend my voice to what I thought was a great cause, which is just a conversation around women's issues and gendered issues that I think the whole country was having at that time, quite a political conversation and cultural conversation at the time. And I was happy to lend my voice if I could.
Who drafted the first draft of the op-ed?
The ACLU.
Did you initially want to include Mr. Depp by name or reference?
No.
What were you trying to accomplish by the op-ed?
I was trying to raise awareness around some of the issues that I just mentioned. There was some legislative reform, Title IX being one of them, and there was just a greater cultural conversation being had around gender issues, and I was happy to weigh in on what I saw as the unique.
So this is why Johnny started the lawsuit, because of that article,
in our culture,
which
when they come forward
didn't
against
name
somebody
him,
more powerful,
but all the assumptions were there that she was talking about him.
Gender-based violence, and I thought I could lend my voice to that conversation. I thought I had something to say about that.
Were you trying to boost your sales for Aquaman since it was coming out in that same time frame?
It doesn't work like that. I don't think any op-ed, a major motion picture or major franchise like that is not aided by the publication of an op-ed in the Washington Post. I'll put it that way. But the other way around can be said. I was wanting to lend my name at that specific time to potentially advance the causes within the op-ed.
Because of your success as Mira with Aquaman?
Yeah, just the publicity of the movie and the success of the movie would hopefully, in best case scenario, only add and lend itself would lend attention to the issues that the op-ed aimed to address.
What did you do once the ACLU had your agreement to be the spokesperson for the op-ed, to put your name to it?
I sought the advice of my attorney.
And why did you do that?
Because I didn't want to get into any sort of legal issue. I didn't want to have any sort of legal problems for talking about what happens to women or people when they come forward and speak about these sorts of issues, especially when they come forward against someone more powerful than them. And that backlash, the retaliation that people face when they come forward is exactly what I was writing about. And I didn't want Johnny to retaliate against me and quite literally prove my point.
And so who was the counsel that you hired to review the op-ed?
His name was Eric George,
Where is he located?
Los Angeles, California.
How did you know Eric George?
Eric George is the attorney who represented me in a different litigation against the producers of London Fields, the movie I mentioned earlier about having a body double and sex scene that I didn't approve of.
What was your understanding of Eric George's experience and skills to be able to review that op-ed for you in the context of your concerns?
Objection, speculation.
I'm asking her understanding.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Did you have knowledge of Eric George's abilities at that time?
I did. I thought he had an excellent reputation and would give me great advice.
And what, if any, experience? What was your experience with him in representing you earlier?
Thought he was a fantastic attorney, very smart.
Look at her, ready with that trigger finger right here. See it?
Without going into the content of it, what, if any, of Eric George's advice did you follow in the context of the op-ed?
I took all of his advice. I made all the edits he suggested. I took all of his advice.
And what, if any, of Eric George's advice did you ignore?
None. I mean, he's my lawyer. I listened to him.
Okay. I'm going to ask you if we can pull up, Michelle, Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. Now, this is the online version of the op-ed, and it has this title, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. What, if any, role did you play in this title?
None.
What, if any, role to your knowledge did the ACLU play in this title?
None to my knowledge.
Okay. Are these exact words anywhere in the article?
No. No, they're not.
When did you first become aware of this title being included in the online version of the op-ed?
I think in this litigation is the first time I realized that.
Okay. I'm going to now ask, Michelle, can you bring up Plaintiff's Exhibit 2? This has also already been admitted into evidence, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is the paper version, if you will, of the Washington Post with your editorial. And if you go to the second page, this one has a title, A Transformative Moment for Women. What, if any, role did you play in that title?
I didn't.
Okay.
None.
Now, do you recall seeing this version, the newspaper version, at the time?
Yes, this is the version I saw. I'm very proud of it. I had it framed.
You had the newspaper version, not the online?
I did. I had the newspaper framed.
Okay. And now I'm going to ask you to turn to, and Michelle, can we pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit number 3? And do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit Plaintiff's Exhibit number 3 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 3 in evidence. You
If we can
publish.
publish it to the jury. Thank you. Now, is it fair to say this is a tweet?
Yes, it is.
And can you explain to the jury what a tweet is for those who are not as social media oriented?
Tweet is a a posting on a social media network called Twitter.
Okay. Now, did you send this tweet?
I think so. I must have.
Okay. And what, if any, control did you have over whether the title given to the op-ed online was included in the tweet?
You don't have control when you're retweeting something. It's my experience that you don't control a title when you're retweeting something. You don't get a chance to re-editorialize someone else's title.
Okay. And at the time you sent this tweet, do you remember even noticing that title?
I do not. I don't think I even realized it.
Have you ever typed the words from that title?
No, I have not.
Now, I'm going to ask you, let's go back to number 2, plaintiffs 2. And I'm going to ask you, what, if anything, in this op-ed was incorrect?
Nothing. Every word of it is true.
And I'm going to direct your attention specifically, and if we can blow this up just a touch, and move up just a touch, Michelle, if you can, so we get to then 2 years ago. Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. Was this true or false?
It's true.
What, if anything, did you do about speaking up about domestic abuse 2 years earlier?
Well, I went and got a restraining order against my then husband and walked out to a sea of media and endured to that point 2 years of vitriol from the media and from Johnny Depp supporters in retaliation for having done so.
And I guess you're really answering my next question, which is, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. Is that what you were referring to for that next?
Yes, because at the time, I thought it couldn't be worse. I obviously now from where I sit today, no, it gets a lot worse.
And then Michelle, if we can move this up a little bit further. Well, actually, that's perfect, Michelle. Then I don't have to use my purple again. Then you said, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. Is this true or false?
True.
Okay, and explain to me what you meant by that and how that was true for you.
I got a restraining order. I had to prove to a judge that I needed one. I had a bruise on my face. I got a restraining order. I showed pictures. I had proof, and yet everyone, the media, the studios that both Johnny and I worked for, they were ready to support him. They made statements in support of him. They were ready to fire me.
Objection, Your
They attempted
Honor.
to fire me.
Hearsay.
All right, I'll sustain the objection.
What, if anything, did you witness with respect to institutions?
Meaning the people that we work for, the institutions we work for, the studios we work for, decision makers in my industry, filmmakers and powerful people and decision makers within my industry whom I had not ever even met, who didn't know anything about what happened behind closed doors in the marriage of Johnny and I, were making comments about me, statements about me. I was dropped from campaigns. It was hard for me to work. I was harassed. I'm harassed on a daily basis, death threats, and just the fact that wasn't, there was no parity. The studio and these decision makers and such were so ready to support him and eager to
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right. So what, if any, ill will or bad intentions did you have or intend against Mr. Depp by assisting in writing, giving your name to this op-ed, and in publishing it?
None. It's not about Johnny.
Liar.
Anyone who thought it was about Johnny is Johnny. It's about me. It's about what happened to me after Johnny. It's about what happened to me after I escaped my marriage. It was about me and my life and what I endured once I moved on and got a TRO and moved on with my life. It was about what happened to me after. The only one who made it about him, ironically, is Johnny.
I'm going to, we can take that down, Michelle. I'm going to turn to something about electronics and transparency. You've testified about, and we've seen photographs and audio recordings and text messages, emails, etc. What, if anything, have you done to cooperate in the authentication of all of these things?
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Sure.
Yeah, you want to tell me none of that was about Johnny? Man, she's so freaking phony. It's not even kind of disgusting how phony she is. Go back.
All right, I'm going to turn to your counterclaim. You have made a counterclaim against Mr. Depp in this case, correct?
That's correct.
And it's based on 3 statements that Mr. Adam Waldman, Mr. Depp's attorney, made, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask if you can pull up Defendant's Exhibit 245. But, Your Honor, I'm going to ask, do we have?
It's already in evidence.
Your Honor, if we may approach
Okay,
just
sure.
real quickly, because I think we can move this along faster if we do this ahead of time.
Yeah, I wonder how much longer they're going to have her on. Kind of sounds like maybe they're wrapping up with her maybe by tomorrow. The jury is to her right. That's why she keeps looking over there. When she answers, she'll look that way and she'll respond. So the jury is to her right. And yeah, I can't wait for that cross-examination to start. I wonder if Camille's gonna get in on that one. Camille is the attorney back there with the I object trigger finger. She's awesome. What did everybody have for lunch? Did you guys have lunch? Did you guys get a snack or anything? Let's see what we got here. And did you guys finally see what he's been doodling? He's been drawing stuff kind of, I don't know, he's been drawing things on his napkins and little pieces of paper. He could probably sell those, make some money. Those comments were hilarious. Yeah, I like that one. Were you there? Classic. Okay. I wish they would make these sidebars a lot quicker. Should put a time limit on these sidebars. Mango and some papaya salad. I haven't had lunch yet. When they break for 15 minutes, I'm going to step out real quick. 15-minute break should be coming up in the next half hour or so. All right.
Okay, we're going to start by bringing up Defendant's 1245.
All right, moving that into evidence, no objection, 1245 in evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. And this is an article that was in the Daily Mail on 8 April 2020. We see that. And then Michelle, if you can move that to the next page and perfect. It says, Adam Waldman, Depp's lawyer, said afterwards, Amber Heard and her friends in the media use fake sexual violence allegations as both a sword and a shield, depending on their needs. They have selected some of her sexual violence hoax facts as the sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Is this a true or a false statement?
False.
And why is it false?
Well, you have to use what I've lived through and what I've survived, calling it fake, saying that I'm harming Johnny with this, I'm harming the public with this. This is what I've lived through, and to say that it's a hoax, that these aren't even real things. I mean, after everything I've lived through and survived, and also I hadn't even spoken about the sexual abuse within my marriage. I have been protected. Tip of that.
No, there it goes.
I didn't want to talk about that ever. Adam Waldman was the one who put that out in the world. As remarkable as that is, I protected that. I had to go to another country to give testimony, and thankfully they allowed me to do so with confidentiality and some protection. And then Johnny, through his lawyer, not only uses that against me, but says it's a hoax.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask if we can bring up, and it's going to be 1246A. And I think I'm moving this
All
into
right.
evidence as well.
There's no objection, so 1246A is in evidence. You can push.
And this is an article that was published on the 28th of April, 2020. And Michelle, if we can, thank you. And this one says, Depp's lawyer, Adam Waldman, said, quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. They set Mr. Depp up by calling the cops. But the first attempt didn't do the trick, he told dailymail.com. And let's keep going. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine and roughed the place up, got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and a publicist, and then placed a second call to 911. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that true or false?
Couldn't be more false.
And why is that?
Every part of it is false. I didn't call 911. I didn't call the police. I refused to cooperate with them to protect Johnny. I protected Johnny. I didn't call them once and I didn't call them twice. I didn't rough up the place. I cleaned up the place. I didn't even know the second cops were coming. If I wanted to get something from him, I wanted to hoax Johnny, why wouldn't I cooperate with the police? Wouldn't I say something to the police? Wouldn't I do more damage to the house and than just knock over the things that you saw pictures of? It makes no sense. And to do it online when there's no fact checking, there's no authorities, there's no one able to, I can't respond. I can't fight this and use these sorts of media leaks and these comments to re-echo over and over and over again online with a network of people that are intent on helping Johnny through a sophisticated PR machine. to
Objection,
echo
Your
this
Honor.
abuse at me over and
Hearsay,
over again.
speculation.
I'll sustain the objection. Next
Okay.
question.
All right. And so what in fact did you do that night?
I cleaned
It's not my video stream going out.
up. I protected Johnny. I refused to cooperate with the police like so many other people do. I tried really hard to keep it private even after that, even when I was committed to filing for a divorce. I tried to protect Johnny. I tried to protect the history of what we had. I tried to protect him. And did the opposite. And I didn't even have a lawyer. I didn't call my publicist. I called my contract attorney to get me another lawyer who could give me advice on how to protect Johnny. Every bit of this was to protect Johnny and to protect the secret that I had fought really hard to keep for nearly 5 years, which was that behind closed doors, things were not what it looked like.
Okay. Michelle, can you take this one down and go to defendants 1247, please? And Your Honor, I'll move the admission.
All right. I know there's no objection, 1247 in evidence.
And Amber, this is another daily, a Mail Online, and this is published on 24 June, updated on 25 June 2020. And then if we can go further. And this one says, Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman, said, "We have reached the beginning of the end of Ms. Heard's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp." Is this true or false?
False.
And why is it false?
Because unfortunately, all of this is real. And what I mentioned earlier about how preposterous it would have to be for this to be this elaborate hoax, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't fathom one day that that would actually be legitimately the position that he, through a lawyer, would take.
Preposterous.
Albeit online, where he could get away with it for some
Objection,
time.
calls for speculation.
Sustain the objection.
Preposterous.
And why is this so absurd?
Because Johnny and I lived this. We lived through this. I lived through this, and I narrowly survived it. But I survived it. And, I have mountains of evidence, mountains of proof, and yet it won't be good enough for people who are seeking to make money off of Johnny's success.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the
That's
objection.
fine. Okay. So I'm going to take you now to the damages that you've suffered as a result of these statements by Mr. Waldman on Mr. Depp's behalf. Please tell the jury how you were doing reputation.
Objection, that's a legal conclusion, Your Honor.
I'm
We
sorry.
move to strike counsel's testimony.
Come forward.
So looks like the page streaming this is having some internet issues. Can you see how slow motion it's going? Well, let me check mine to make sure.
From the record, we'll disregard that question. All right, your next question.
Not on my end.
What was your understanding of on whose behalf Mr. Waldman was making those three statements?
Objection, lack of foundation, calls for speculation.
If you want to approach again, that's not what we just said here. I just want.
So we'll move forward to my other question here. How were you, please tell the jury, how were you doing reputationally before these three statements were made, beginning April 2020? April 8 was the first of them.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to object on lack of foundation.
She can talk about her reputation.
Overruled, I'll allow.
It took hard work. It took a lot of hard work on my part, but I was able to work, get my life back on track. I was taking care of myself emotionally. My career, I was working really hard. I was able to star in a major success. I worked on a TV series that I had been attached to for a very long time. I became an ambassador for several nonprofits that I deeply care about. I was doing a lot of really, it felt really good to be doing the social work and the charity work that I was doing. And I was also filming and working and planning on, I was awaiting a schedule from Warner Brothers for Aquaman 2, the sequel. And I had wrapped on that TV series I mentioned, and I was awaiting to start doing publicity for it to promote it. And I had a campaign, a global campaign, as a spokesperson for a major beauty brand. So things were, the trajectory was positive.
So how did things change after these statements were made?
I remember around the time, unfortunately, I lost my mother on the 1st of April. And I remember it was when I was grieving her that I got a call that I should be expecting a script for my role in Aquaman 2.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
It's not offered to prove the truth of the matter.
Overruled.
Go ahead.
So I was waiting a schedule and a script for that. Feeling concerned that, I wouldn't have enough time to grieve before having to get back into work. I had a press schedule to promote the TV series I was doing, and I was shooting things for this beauty brand. And then I remember at that time the beauty brand had to suspend posting what I just shot for them because they were getting bombarded.
Objection, Your Honor, this is hearsay.
Sustain the objection.
Okay. All right.
They said no. They suspended what I had shot.
Objection, Your Honor.
Were you actively involved in campaigns for L'Oreal before these articles?
I was.
Were you actively involved in campaigns with L'Oreal after these articles?
No.
Were you with The Stand? You were talking about the TV series. That was The Stand, correct?
Yes, the TV series that I had already completed.
All right. And were you actively involved in publicity for The Stand prior to these articles?
Yes, I was.
Were you actively involved in the publicity after these articles?
No, the shoots were canceled. Things were
Okay.
canceled.
With respect to Aquaman 1, Aquaman 2, you'd already starred in Aquaman 1, right? And they called it Aquaman at that time, but now there's an Aquaman 2, just right for.
That's correct.
Okay. So were you actively scheduling timing for filming and scripts for Aquaman 2 before these articles?
Yes, I was.
Were you actively scheduling after these articles?
No, the communications stopped at that point.
All right. I'm going to, Michelle, can you bring up Defendant's Exhibit 1258? I'm going to show you what has been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 1258. It's dated September 21, 2015. Do you recognize this document?
Yes,
Okay, what is it?
it is the Justice League Aquaman contract.
Okay, Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 1258.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, may we
Oh,
approach?
sure. Yes, ma'am.
Another sidebar. We'll see what's going on here. Thanks for joining me on this streaming of the Johnny Depp defamation of character lawsuit against Amber Heard. He's suing for $50 million. She's countersuing for $100 million. And so far, it's not looking good for Miss Amber over here. At least I don't think it is. She looks like a psycho hose beast. Too bad, because she's from Texas, but kind of understandable. Like, And Johnny over there still barely looking up at her. You guys see what happened last week when she got off the stand? And then Johnny came around the table. He was going to leave. They were going to leave at the same time. And Amber panicked. Like they were going to bump into each other. And she kind of panicked about that. And it caused a whole little scene. And they had to tell Johnny to wait. And they had security escort her past Johnny. It's like, talk about drama, boy. So ridiculous. Somebody made a comment. Did the voice the tone in her voice change? Yeah, it sure did. And she reminds me of an old English actor in Western movies. Man, nailed it with that one. Oh, we're back.
So, Amber, can you explain to me how the contract structure was for Justice League and options? Just explain to the jury, please.
It's structured like a 3-picture option. I signed on to do Justice League, where my character was introduced. The fee is, small relative to what it will become if and when you do the other options or movies in that under that umbrella. So it was the contract for Justice League, which could then become Justice League 2, or it could be Aquaman, or it could be some other movie within the DC universe. And the second picture ended up being Aquaman. And then the third picture, Aquaman 2. Each time the fee goes up, but...
Objection, Your Honor. This calls for speculation, lack of foundation.
Overruled out loud.
As far as the contract is concerned, that's what the contract says.
All right. And if we go to page 6, so what was your fee going to be for Aquaman? And what was it for Aquaman?
$1 million.
Okay. And then was there also box office bonuses, opportunities?
Yes, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, there are box office bonuses. If it makes a certain amount in the box office, you get a bonus.
Okay. And it says picture number 2. At the time you entered into the contract and with on Justice League, did they know what the picture would be?
No, as I mentioned before, when you do the contract.
Objection calls for speculation.
All right, I'll sustain that objection.
Okay. So ultimately, what was picture number 2?
Aquaman.
All right. And then what was it for picture number 3?
Aquaman 2.
Okay. And what was the fee under the option agreement at that time?
$2 million.
Okay. Now, did you have contracts with L'Oreal?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And can you just describe for the jury what was involved with L'Oreal? You talked about being involved in campaigns and then not. Just explain that to them if you can.
As a spokesperson, I'm just involved with the brand as a representative, and a certain amount of commitment you have to do throughout the year on social media and on red carpets, promoting various products or causes they're advancing. Generally, it's just like a brand ambassadorship.
Okay. And did you, let's pull up 1262. And this is dated as of April 25, 2018, correct?
That's correct.
Was that your first contract with L'Oreal?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And was that for a term, a specific term?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Was it for 2 years?
Yes, it says 2-year contract, and that sounds right.
All right. And then I'm going to ask you to turn to 1264. And that's April 20, 2020. And what, if anything, did L'Oreal do with regard to extending your contract then?
They extended it. They chose to extend it with the option to kind of,
All right, and did they extend it just an additional 3 months? If you
that,
look at paragraph 1.
let's see. Yes, they did.
Okay, and what, if any, work did you do for L'Oreal after these 3 statements were made?
I have only been able to participate in, I believe, one live event that they also couldn't promote or use the material from because of.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation and
I'll
hearsay.
sustain the objection.
Okay. Now let's go to 1265. And this is, as of November 15, 2021, this is another extension with L'Oreal, correct?
Yes, it is.
And if you look at the second option term under paragraph 1, it's an extension of 20 months, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And what, if any, work have you been able to do for L'Oreal since this contract?
As I stated, I believe I've only done one in-person event with them and they couldn't use the material.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the stand for a minute. Let's pull up 1263. And this is dated July 3, 2019. And I believe you indicated that you had already filmed it by the time these statements were made in April and June of 2020. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what, if any, marketing opportunities were you participating in prior to those articles?
We had appearances, talk show, press, the normal kind of group cast press junket, promotional material, photo shoot. And I had various publicity engagements lined up, like a magazine cover, that sort of thing to promote the film. To promote the series.
And what, if anything, were you able to do with marketing opportunities after the 3 articles were published?
None.
What, if any, covers were you on after that for the stand?
They pulled the offer for that, so none.
Okay. And while we're on this agreement, if you look at the second page, how much were you paid for the stand? It's at 6C. $200,000.
$200,000 an episode.
Okay. Now let's pull up Defendant's Exhibit 1266. Have you been able to get any work since that time?
I have done one small independent film.
Okay, and tell the jury what that is.
I shot a film in Guatemala. It's a small independent, meaning it doesn't have distribution or, it doesn't have distribution or anything. It's a lower budget film that I've been attached to for many years called Into the Fire.
Okay. And 1266 has as of January 13, 2022. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, when did you actually film for this in Guatemala?
March. I believe it was March of this year.
Okay. And do you recall what your compensation was for that?
I don't off the top of my head. I'm
If you
sorry.
can look at ALH 17628, it's paragraph 6A.
65,000.
Okay. And have you participated in Aquaman 2?
I have.
And tell us about that.
I had to I fought really hard to stay in the movie. They didn't want to include me in the film.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Were you ultimately able to get to film in Aquaman 2?
A very pared down version of that role, yes.
Okay, what, if anything, changed in the script?
They took away a lot of.
Objection, Your Honor.
I
Hearsay,
think she can.
lack of foundation.
Overruled as to script.
Go ahead.
I was given a script and then given new versions of the script that had taken away scenes that had action in it, that depicted my character and another character, without giving any spoilers away. You know, they're two characters fighting with one another, and they basically took a bunch out of my role. They just removed a bunch out.
And what, if any, leverage did you have to negotiate a higher salary beyond the $2 million?
Objection, speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
What, if any, effort did you make to negotiate a higher salary for your participation?
I couldn't renegotiate my contract.
And why not?
Objection, this calls for hearsay and speculation.
Do you know why?
Still the same objections, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right. Amber, I'm going to ask you to describe to this jury the emotional impact on you of these three statements that we have talked about, these three counterclaim statements. Please describe how this has impacted you.
These statements are used over and over and over and over again online to reverberate, re-echo, and re-energize.
Objection, Your Honor, this is not responsive, lack of foundation. And hearsay.
She gets to give her consent for it.
Well, the question was, what your emotional impact of these statements?
Okay.
The impact it has on me is every time I look at it, which is every day. I am set back. I have to relive it. I have to have the worst, most painful things I've ever gone through, painful memories I've ever had, the things I've narrowly survived at times, embarrassing, intimate details that I never wanted to be known, never wanted to be public ever, and to have them used every single day to call me a liar. I have to relive this every single day that I have to address those claims. Over and over again, the most intimate, embarrassing, deeply humiliating, and personal things that I've survived are used against me every day, over and over again. It's torture. I'm in so much pain emotionally. I just wanted him to leave me alone. I wanted to move on with my life. And he won't let me. By making statements like this, he won't let me. I have to be here today. I have to be reliving it every single time. He, with these statements, with these leaks, these comments, once again,
This is
makes
so.
me have to speak to the most horrifying things I've lived through.
This is so fake. It's almost embarrassing.
It's torture. It's torturous. Why don't you have to do that?
She can't get the tears out.
I want to move on with my life.
I mean, one tear. Come on, one tear.
I have a baby. I want to move on. I want Johnny to move on too. I want him to leave me alone.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Ooh.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's probably a good time to go ahead and take our afternoon recess based on that. So go ahead and do not discuss the case and don't do any outside research. Okay, we'll see you in 15 minutes. Okay, thank you.
15 minutes.
Please, court is still in session. I need it to be quiet in the gallery. Thank you.
Do I smell a cross coming up? Ooh, it's gonna be good. 15 minutes. Okay, I got to be back in a second. I'm gonna leave it right here. Be right back.
All right. We want to approach? Sure, okay.
So Willoughby, this sounds like the ultimate moment for a cross examination right now. Because you heard it. She said, "I've got no more no more. I've got nothing further for Mrs. Amber Heard." So they're just doing a quick sidebar right now. I wish I could hear what they were saying right now. I wonder who's in the crowd. Is that like family or just spectators? Come on, lady, you're watching court. She's in a red t-shirt. Don't even dress up for the occasion. What the heck are they talking about? Throw on some of this music. What's taking so long? Popo's in that courtroom. Hey, what the heck is going on over here? I could have gotten food. I could have made a food run. La mera mera, yes. Absolutely, yes. I wonder if they're arguing over things that they can ask her or not ask her, you know? Come on. They could have cooked me a whole steak. Hey, what did happen to the music? Hi, Rachel. You guys don't hear anything or any music at all? Gee, it's all women in the crowd, mostly women. But they're sitting on her side, right? Yeah, don't worry, I'll cut the music as soon as they come back. All right.
All right, thank you. All right, be seated. Cross-examination.
Here we go.
Good afternoon, Ms. Heard.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Depp hasn't looked at you once this entire trial, has he?
Not that I've noticed, no.
You've looked at him, though, many times, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
You know exactly why Mr. Depp won't look back at you, don't you?
I do.
He promised you you would never see his eyes again. Isn't that true?
I don't recall if he said that.
One of the last times you ever saw Mr. Depp was when you met him in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
That was the second to last time I saw him, yes.
And this was after you had publicly accused him of domestic violence.
I got my restraining order before that, yes. Mhm.
And this is after you had obtained the domestic violence restraining order against him.
That's correct.
Let's please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 1229. For the record, it's at 1101 through 1209. I'm going to ask that it be admitted into evidence.
Any objection to 1229?
Yes.
All right, 1229, you want to enter it in its entirety?
Yes, please.
Okay, 1229 entered in its entirety. Go ahead and play your section.
I don't understand. Is this what you want?
No. Oh, no, a hug will save it all.
I
All
just
this,
don't know.
all this, everything we
I just wanted to touch you.
just. Really? After all this shit you just
I
said?
just wanted to give
After
you
all
a
this
hug.
shit you fucking
Yes,
accused me of? You
yes,
want to
please,
touch me?
please stop me.
Fucking.
Please stop. Please, I just wanted to hug you and say bye. I wanted to hit
Yeah,
back.
we did that last night. It's fine. That was good enough. No, because I'm nothing to you. And I will always be nothing to you.
Calm. Calm.
What? You're not my shrink.
Your hands are hard. Please just hold it.
No. No, you're in fucking hard.
Oh, no.
No, we'll never see each other again. You won't don't take my fucking glasses off. You don't like fucking looking at not my fucking eyes? You will not see my eyes again.
That's you and Mr. Depp in that recording.
That is.
And this is from when you and Mr. Depp met in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
Yes, that's what it sounds like. That was in the hotel. We met once after that as well.
This is after you publicly accused him of domestic abuse.
Yes, and got my TRO.
And he tells you you will not see my eyes again, doesn't he?
Yes, he does in that recording.
And he kept that promise, hasn't he?
As far as I know, he cannot look at me.
He will
He won't
not
look at you, right,
look
sir?
at you.
He can't.
Doesn't want to.
One of the first questions your counsel asked you on direct is, why are you here? Do you remember that?
I do.
Let's please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 357A, which is already in evidence, Your Honor. And for the record, it's 2122 through 2140.
Fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and
Yes.
it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
That's your voice on that recording, right?
Yes, it is.
And you were speaking with Mr. Depp?
Yes.
And you said to Mr. Depp, quote, You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and the judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, a victim too of domestic violence, end quote. That's what you said, right?
I was saying it to the man who beat me up, yes. I thought it was preposterous.
And the man you beat up numerous times. Right, Ms. Heard?
I could never hurt Johnny.
You're here in this courtroom because Mr. Depp finally told the world that he is a victim of domestic violence.
I know that he is suing me and has sued other people or corporations that have said that as well.
You didn't think he would tell the world he was a victim of domestic violence, did you?
I found it hard to believe that he could or that he would do that, considering the relationship he and I had. I thought it would be crazy for him to do so, knowing what I know we lived through.
Or, as you said to him in that recording, who was going to believe that Johnny Depp, a man, is a victim of domestic violence, right?
With all due respect, I wasn't saying it because he's a man. I was saying it because he's a man who beat me up for 5 years.
Mr. Depp is your victim, isn't he?
No, ma'am.
And once he left you, you continued to abuse him publicly by calling him an abuser, didn't you?
He is an abuser, and you can look either of us up online and figure out who's being abused online.
Let's look at some of that. Mr. Depp wears rings on every finger, doesn't he, Ms. Heard?
That's my experience, yes.
And they're not delicate rings, are they?
No, they are not.
Every one of his fingers is adorned, your words, big, chunky rings. Isn't that right?
That's my experience of him.
And Mr. Depp is always wearing rings, right, Ms. Heard?
That's my experience of him.
And you've never known him not to wear these rings.
That's my experience, is he normally wore rings, yes.
So Mr. Depp was wearing these big, chunky rings on every finger, every incident of abuse you've described to this jury, right?
I can't say for certain it was in every single incident.
But you've never known him not to wear rings, right?
In general, my experience with Johnny is that he wears rings almost all the time.
Ms. Heard, do you recall giving testimony in a deposition in this matter in January of this year?
I do.
Can we please play from your deposition, day 2, 512, page 512, lines 11 through 15?
You said he hit you and he was wearing rings, right, Ms. Heard? So he hit you with rings on every finger?
I don't know if I've ever known Johnny to not wear rings.
Yeah.
Ms. Heard, you testified to an incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times. Do you recall that?
That's correct.
And you testified, quote, "You don't know how many times he hit you in the face."
That's correct.
So Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times while he was wearing rings on this occasion, correct?
Which occasion in March are you referencing? You weren't
The
specific.
testimony that you gave on day 15 of this trial, March of 2013. You weren't specific as to the day.
There were several incidents.
The one where he hit you several times in the face.
I'm sorry, just so I understand better. There were several incidents in March. Which one are you asking me about?
The time that he hit you several times in the face wearing rings.
Well, he pretty much
March of
always,
2013.
right. What are you asking me? I'm sorry.
He was wearing rings on that occasion. Okay, let's please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 170A, which is already in evidence, Your Honor.
That look on her face is pissing me off.
You testified that this is a picture you took after that incident, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, that was one where he grabbed me.
and hit you in the face so many times that you don't remember. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And there's no injuries to your face in this picture, are there?
Not that this picture shows.
And there's no medical records reflecting that you sought treatment after this alleged incident either.
I did not seek medical treatment at this time.
So there's no medical records reflecting any injuries to your face after he hit you several times,
I did not need to go to the doctor at the time.
despite hitting you several times that you lost count with rings on his fingers.
That's correct. I did not seek medical attention, other than my therapist.
You testified to another incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you while he was wearing a lot of rings. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
And you testified you felt like your lip went through your teeth and it got a little blood on the wall.
Yes, I remember that.
There isn't a picture of you with injuries after that alleged incident, is there?
I don't know if I've seen one. I can't recall. There are a lot of pictures.
You didn't produce any photographs after that alleged incident, did you?
I don't know if I took one or if it's included. I'm not quite sure which ones.
You didn't show any pictures to this jury after describing that alleged incident that your lip went into your teeth. You don't remember that, right? You didn't show any pictures to this jury after describing that incident, right?
I don't believe I've seen that picture admitted.
That picture doesn't exist.
I don't know which one you're talking about. We have pictures from March 2013, yes.
The only picture that you've produced and shown to this jury is the one that was just put up on the screen, where you said he hit you multiple times in the face, and you appear to have what is a bruise on your arm, correct?
I believe this is the only picture that's in evidence right now.
That's the only picture you've shown to this jury from March 2013, correct?
I believe so.
You testified about an incident in Russia on or about June 26, 2013. Do you remember that?
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that Mr. Depp, quote, whacked you in the face.
That's correct.
And you went to the bathroom after that, right?
I did.
And then, according to your testimony, when you came out of the bathroom, Jerry Judge, Mr. Depp's security guard, who's passed away, pointed out that your nose was bleeding, right?
He did that in the hallway.
And you said you hadn't known that your nose was bleeding until Jerry Judge pointed it out to you?
Yes, that's correct. I was unaware until he brought it up to me. I didn't see it when I was in the bathroom, but I wasn't looking.
So it's your testimony that you went into the bathroom and didn't look in the mirror, which I assume was in the bathroom, to notice that your nose is bleeding?
That's not why I went into the bathroom. I went into the bathroom crying. I don't even know if I paid attention to the mirror. I certainly didn't enough to notice any blood.
And you didn't take any pictures of your bloody nose either, did you?
I did not.
But pictures were taken of you in Russia, though. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We had a press or a dinner.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1248. Ms. Heard, this is a picture of you and Mr. Depp in Russia, correct?
That's correct.
I'm going to move to admit.
All right, no objection. 1248 in evidence. You can publish.
And this is you and Mr. Depp in Russia for the Lone Ranger premiere, correct?
It was a dinner function, I believe, in promotion of the movie. Wasn't the premiere, if I recall.
You don't have any visible injuries to your face, do you?
None that you can see.
Let's look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 1249. This is a picture of you, isn't it right?
That's correct.
I'm going to move to admit Exhibit 1249.
All right, 1249 in evidence.
This is also a picture from when you were in Russia for the Lone Ranger premiere, right?
That is correct.
And you have no visible injuries to your face, do you?
None that you can see.
Even though Mr. Depp whacked you in the face so hard that your nose bled?
He did.
While wearing chunky big rings, right?
That's correct.
You also testified that Mr. Depp, again, whacked you in the face after the Met Gala in May of 2014, right?
That is correct.
You testified that you thought he hit you so hard he broke your nose.
That's correct.
You said your nose was, quote, swollen, discolored, red.
That is correct. I took a picture of that.
You testified you took a picture of your face after this.
I did.
But you didn't show that picture to the jury, did you?
I would like to.
But you didn't show it, did you?
That's not up to me.
You understand you were under an obligation to produce all photographs after any alleged incidents of violence, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
You didn't produce any photographs after the Met Gala.
I produced everything.
You also understand that you're under an obligation to produce all medical records reflecting any injuries you allegedly sustained from Mr. Depp, correct?
That's correct.
And you haven't produced any pictures or any medical records reflecting a broken nose after the Met Gala in May of 2014, have you?
I have given everything to my lawyers. Everything. I've turned over literally everything that I have.
Is it your testimony, Ms. Heard, that you sought medical treatment after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose after the Met Gala?
Not after the Met Gala. I did not seek medical attention, no.
You also attended an event after the Met Gala in May of 2014, didn't you?
That is correct.
You went to the All-Star Comedy Tribute to Don Rickles.
That is correct.
That was the next night after the Met Gala.
That is correct.
And there were pictures of you taken at this event.
Yes.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1252. This is a picture of you, Ms. Heard,
Yes, it is.
at that event,
Yes, it is.
the night after the Met Gala,
Yes, it is.
the night after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose.
I'm not sure if it was broken, for the record, but yeah, you should see what it looked like underneath the makeup.
He whacked you so hard in the face that you thought you had broken your nose.
Exactly.
Permission to admit this photograph.
All right, 1252 in evidence.
This is a picture of you, Mr. Depp, and Don Rickles, right?
That is correct.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1253. This is another picture from that evening, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, it is.
Permission to admit Exhibit 1253 and publish it.
All right, so moved. 1253 in evidence.
This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp at the event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he had broken your nose.
He did whack me in the face, and I did think it broke my nose.
And this is you the night after.
Yes, it is.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1254. This is also a picture of you at the same event, correct, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Move to admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 1254.
All right, 1254 in evidence. You can publish. Thank you.
And just to confirm now that the jury can see it, this is a picture of you at the same event, the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he broke your nose.
This is a picture of me after he did whack me in the face.
The night after, right?
Yes, it is. I believe it was the night after, yes.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Ms. Heard?
I'm wearing makeup.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Ms. Heard?
That's why I'm wearing makeup.
Right. And makeup covers up swelling, right?
Makeup will not cover up swelling. Ice will, though.
Ice will cover up swelling?
Ice reduces swelling. Normally, the swelling after that kind of injury is not as bad as you might imagine. And for me, it wasn't that bad. I have a picture of it underneath the makeup. That's how I know how to reference it.
A picture you haven't produced or shown to
did.
this jury, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
But you haven't shown it to this jury.
I would very much like to. It's not my job.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Wow. What do you guys think? Is she full of crap or what? I don't know if there's going to be a bruise. If it was a punch in her nose, on a delicate face like that, that's going to swell. And that swelling would not go away the next day. I don't care how much ice you put on that thing. Might it reduce it? Yeah. But is it going to get rid of it completely? And what about the rings? If you had rings on that hand, on every finger, there's no scratches or nothing. Yeah, that look on her face, right, Jennifer? She's all. Yeah, she definitely doesn't want to be there right now. I can tell you that much. They are not going to go easy on her. She said, "It's not my job." Yep, they just started the cross about 10 minutes ago. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Now I'm curious to know if they've got that photo. Excuse me. Or if they're going to look for it or ask for it. Because why didn't her people show the photo? Hey, Danielle, I'm going to send something to your inbox, all right? I know, Jennifer, right? I think if there was a photo of it showing her nose all swollen, why wouldn't her own people, her own attorney, show that and go, look at her nose? But they didn't. So the reason Johnny's not looking at her is, remember we said, man, he's not even looking at her. Remember we said that last week? That's because that's what he told her that one, I guess when she filed for divorce or whatever. He says, I'm not going to look at you anymore. I'm not going to look at you anymore. That's why. Yeah, we're back.
Ms. Heard, you testified that in January of 2015, there was an incident in Tokyo before Mr. Depp's Mordecai, the film Mordecai's premiere. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you told this jury that on this occasion, Mr. Depp was kneeling on your back.
That's correct, in the closet.
And you also told this jury that you wore a backless dress to the Mordecai premiere that very same night.
I did.
And you testified that you were checking for bruises in the car on the way to the event to make sure that there were, quote, no visible marks, right?
I was checking on my phone after the event to make sure that you couldn't see anything.
Your testimony was that you were checking in the car on the way to the event to make sure that there were no marks on your back.
Perhaps I misspoke or I misunderstood. It was on the way back from it was after I was concerned. Concerned that there would be marks in any photographs since we were being photographed at Johnny's press event.
And you didn't show this jury a picture of you in that backless dress, though, did you?
I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry.
You didn't show this jury a picture of you at the Mordecai premiere wearing a backless dress, did you?
I haven't had the opportunity to.
Okay.
I assume you have it.
I do. Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1256. This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp, or the back of you, at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, correct, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I move to admit and publish this picture.
All right, 1256 in evidence.
This is you in the backless dress at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, right?
That is correct.
You would agree that there are no bruises or visible marks on your back in this picture?
No, not that I could see.
I'll show you one other photo. If we could please have Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257. This is a front angle picture of you and Mr. Depp at that premiere, correct?
That is correct.
Move to admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257.
All right, 1257 in evidence.
I'll show you one more picture. Plaintiff's Exhibit 1258. And again, Ms. Heard, this is you and Mr. Depp at the Mordecai premiere.
Yes, it is.
Move to admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 1258.
All right, 1258 in evidence. Publish.
And that's the backless dress, right, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
You also told this jury about an incident in Australia in March of 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that after this alleged incident, you had cuts on your forearms, right?
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had cuts on the bottoms of your feet as well.
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had a bruise across your jaw from when Mr. Depp, quote, clocked you in the face, end quote.
That's true.
You didn't take any pictures of these injuries while you were in Australia, did you?
I don't think I took any pictures.
You just took 2 pictures of Mr. Depp's writing on a mirror. Isn't that right?
I believe so, yes.
So you had your phone on you, right?
At some point, I did have my phone.
And your iPad?
I had my iPad, I believe.
You testified that you were also raped with a liquor bottle in Australia, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes.
You testified you bled from your vagina as a result of that sexual assault.
Yes.
There aren't any medical records reflecting that you sought medical treatment for any of these injuries, are there?
I did not seek medical treatment after Australia. No.
Who wouldn't
Not for the
get
rape?
medical help?
No, I did not want to tell anyone.
Not for the cuts?
No,
Not for the injuries to your face?
I didn't need to.
You also told the jury about an incident on December 15, 2015, right?
Where? I'm sorry.
December 15th, 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
You told this jury that after this incident, you had a broken nose.
It certainly felt like it.
Ms. Heard, do you recall giving testimony on day 16th in this trial? You were
Yes,
under
I do.
oath, right?
Yes.
You can have a transcript for the jury. Or, excuse me, for the witness.
Okay. All right. We'll get it. I will do. Thank you, Judy.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
All right. Yes, ma'am.
And would you like a copy?
Yes, please.
Mm.
If I can please direct your attention, Ms. Heard, to page of day 16, 4593, of the jury trials transcript. Lines 8 through 13,
On which page? I'm sorry.
4593.
Yes.
Starting on line 8. I thought I probably had a concussion and certainly thought, excuse me, strike that, let's start over. I thought I probably had a concussion and certainly that I had a broken nose. There was blood everywhere, blood all over the pillows. My head was bleeding from the ripped out hair, chunks of hair on the floor, all over the place actually. So lines 9, that I had a broken nose. Do you recall giving that testimony, Ms. Heard?
Yes, exactly.
So you had a broken nose, right?
That's absolutely what I thought.
And you told this jury that you had 2 black eyes after this incident, right?
I did have 2 black eyes after that incident.
And you testified that you also had a busted lip from when Mr. Depp punched you.
That is correct. From December, yes, that's correct.
You testified that the lip wound kept reopening when you moved your mouth.
That's correct.
You also testified that you had bruising on your temple
That's correct.
and bruising on your chin.
Correct.
You also testified that your head was bleeding from where Mr. Depp ripped chunks of your hair out.
I remember, yes.
And that you had, quote, gross, pussy, and, quote, bruising around your temple.
In my scalp, yeah.
Now, for this incident, you did take pictures.
That's
Correct?
correct.
And we will look at some of those in a minute. But I first want to talk to you about your appearance on the James Corden show.
Sure. Can I close this?
Sure. You appeared on the James Corden show the day after this alleged incident, right?
I did.
And that was December 16th, 2015?
Yes, that's correct.
Let's please pull up a clip of your appearance from that evening. If we could, Plaintiff's Exhibit 35. And for the record, we will only be playing a portion of this, so we will call it Plaintiff's Exhibit 35A.
All right. Any objection? 35A in evidence.
I grew up
in Texas riding horses and,
Oh, really?
Not
Not a big ballet community out there in Texas.
not so much. Shooting guns, yes, but ballet, no. So I wanted to train for it, and there were some ballet sequences that we wanted to have the option to incorporate into the movie. So I trained forever, and I have 2 left feet. I'm the most klutzy person in the world, and I have no grace. So I
Your Honor, I'm
knew
so
I had to
sorry,
train.
but it's not published to the jury. We may have it please published.
Okay, thank you.
Apologies. If we can please start that over.
Start it over, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I grew up, in Texas riding horses and,
Oh, really?
Not
Not a big ballet community out there in Texas.
not so much. Shooting guns, yes, but ballet, no. So I wanted to train for it, and there were some ballet sequences that we wanted to have the option to incorporate into the movie. So I trained forever, and I have 2 left feet. I'm the most klutzy person in the world, and I have no grace. So I knew I had to train for it, and what they don't tell you, I crammed about 3 months of solid training in, and I'm kind of like working my way up from the floor and learning the technical aspect of ballet, and I've got these dances down technically perfectly. I'm learning all of the movements, but the last thing we get to are the hands. And I haven't yet got to that point, but everything else is working, and I'm acting it up on my face, and I'm selling the ballet. And I think I'm doing really good at this point, kind of nailing it. And so I send videos and images to my friends to get encouragement and look for their support. And everyone shoots back, "What's with the claw hand?" And I look and I realize all that stress and fear of performing and doing this thing had just kind of funneled out through the one thing that I hadn't yet
What were your hands doing?
So I'd be doing this amazing, I'd be doing a jump with a back bend, and you can see this graceful falling, and my hands are and my face though is I've got that you saw on the clip, this beautiful 1920s, stage makeup on, and flower crowns and all this stuff, and then my hand and my face, and then my hands.
That was you on the James Corden show on December 16th, 2015, right, Ms. Heard?
That was.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 98. These are pictures of you on the James Corden show on December 16th, 2015, right, Ms. Heard?
They look like freeze frames, like screen grabs. Stills. They're not it's not like a photo shoot, it doesn't seem.
But on the James Corden show, correct?
From that appearance, yes.
Move to admit and publish Plaintiff's Exhibit 98.
Any objection? All right, and Ms. Bernhoff, you could move the microphone and turn it on for you, so Judy and I are having trouble hearing you.
Sorry about that.
All right, thank you. All right, 98 in evidence. Thank you.
That's a photo of you opening your mouth on the right?
That's correct.
And again, a larger view of the same photo on the bottom
That's correct.
with a split lip.
You've seen pictures of it without makeup. Yes,
So you had a split lip when you
I
were
sure
moving
did.
your mouth that way
I sure did.
in those photographs.
Absolutely.
Okay. You did take pictures of your alleged injuries after December 15th, correct? And you showed those to the jury?
I sure did, yes.
Okay. Let's please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 516, which is already in evidence. You testified that this is a picture of you after the incident on December 15th, 2015, right?
It was.
And if we could also please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 517, which is also in evidence.
That's fine.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is also a picture of you after the incident on December 15th, 2015.
That's correct.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 409, which is already in evidence. These pictures ended up in People magazine in June of 2016. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
You gave these pictures to People magazine after you publicly accused Mr. Depp of domestic abuse, didn't you?
I didn't personally know.
This was you protecting Mr. Depp after you got the restraining order against him, isn't it?
No, this is him calling me a liar and me forcing to prove it, as I mentioned to you earlier.
So you did give these pictures to People magazine?
No, I gave these pictures actually to my lawyers and my representatives at the time.
So it's your testimony, Ms. Heard, that your lawyers and representatives gave these pictures of their client to People magazine in the middle of a contentious divorce?
I certainly did not personally give it, no.
You also have a medical record from after the December 15th, 2015 incident, don't you?
A partial one, yes.
You went to see Dr. Kipper's office a couple days later.
That's right. He wasn't in the office.
Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 47, which is already in evidence? This is your medical record for December 17th, 2015, isn't it, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And this record doesn't document any physical injuries on you, does it?
I don't think so, no. I don't think I spoke to Kipper. I didn't speak to Kipper that day. And
But you
I
went to Dr. Kipper's office and were seen, correct?
I went to Dr. Kipper's office for a concussion check.
Right, okay. And this medical record is from that visit, correct?
Partially, yes.
Scroll down, please, if we could. The signature Kipper down below. This is the entirety of the medical record, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, what I meant by partial is I didn't talk about what happened to me. I didn't get into my injuries. I didn't get into what happened or ask for anything other than should I get some sort of scan done.
But this record doesn't document any physical injuries on you, does it?
I'd have to read it in full, but I don't know.
Well, let's do that. Could please go, well, under skin on the second page, it reads intact, normal color, moisture, hair distribution, texture, turgor, no signs of, oh, this is going to be hard, cyanosis, mottling, jaundice.
It also says I'm a well-nourished male.
Right. I have no idea what that means.
I think this medical record's missing a lot of things.
Yeah. It doesn't document any physical injuries.
It doesn't seem to be documenting anything.
Probably because there was nothing to document, right, Ms. Heard?
I disagree with you on that.
You don't have any medical records reflecting that you broke your nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I saw an ENT after my relationship ended.
And you saw an ENT, it's your testimony under oath that you saw an ENT for broken noses that you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp?
No, but the ENT told me I sustained
Objection.
multiple fractures.
No, I'm going to move to strike. Your
I'll
Honor.
sustain the objection. I'll move it to strike.
Thank you. So again, just to try my question, there's no medical records reflecting that you broke your nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, is there, Ms. Heard?
I don't know what made it in evidence, but I do know that I documented that visit and that everything was given to my attorneys.
Ms. Heard, you never went to see any doctor or surgeon to treat a broken nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, yes or no?
I never sought treatment for broken nose while I was with Johnny.
Or after you were with Mr. Depp, as a result of any injuries you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp?
Afterwards, yes, I did.
And you didn't produce those medical records in this case?
I would object, Your Honor. She did.
I did.
I don't know.
They have not been produced, Your
Yeah,
Honor.
they not only
All right, if you
been
would
produced,
come and approach.
Ugh. Here we go again. What do you think? Is Amber full of crap or what? I'm telling you, there's something about her. She's a freaking lion. That smirk on her face. Ugh. I just keep staring at the jury with that sad puppy face.
You don't have any medical records reflecting that you required any dental work during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I don't know. I don't recall.
You don't recall one way or another seeking dental care for any injuries you allegedly sustained?
You asked me about if I had produced records or if I had records. That's a different question.
Did you ever see a dentist or an oral surgeon as a
Yeah.
result of any injuries you sustained with Mr. Depp?
Not about any injury I had from Johnny, no.
And you don't have any medical records reflecting that you required any reconstructive work during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I never required reconstructive work, so there would be no records.
What you do have, Ms. Heard, are pictures of Mr. Depp sleeping, though, right? The jury saw a lot of those.
Yes.
Ms. Heard, let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1090, which is already in evidence. You took this photograph, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And you testified that this was taken in Tokyo in July of 2013, correct?
Yes.
So you decided to take a picture of Mr. Depp asleep on the floor?
He was passed out.
That's a
And I
yes.
took a picture of him because he wouldn't remember. He claimed he didn't pass out that way. And sometimes security would carry him like a baby into bed, get him changed, and he would be none the wiser. So I started taking pictures of it so that he knew that it was real, that it had gotten this bad.
Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1091, which is already in evidence. You took this picture as well.
Yes,
And this is a picture that was taken in the Bahamas, right?
it's one of them, yes.
And this is a picture of Mr. Depp taking a nap on his tropical island.
I believe he was on the nod, but as he would say.
Sleeping on the nod on his island.
They're very different, in my opinion. And
Okay.
yes, he is on the island.
On vacation.
We were on vacation, yes.
Let's also take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1092, which is also in evidence. You also took this picture, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct. I did.
And this is another picture of Mr. Depp asleep in a chair.
No, he was nodding off. Sleep is different. When you're nodding off, you're high on drugs. Didn't even feel the cigarette in his hand that had, been burning on his leg. It was cause for alarm for me, naturally, because I cared about him.
That's why you took a picture of
Is your
him.
testimony under oath that Mr. Depp is holding a cigarette in this picture?
He had been.
You seem to really like taking pictures of Mr. Depp while he's sleeping, don't you?
I hated it. I hated it.
Let's look at Defendant's
God.
Exhibit 1094, which
Sounds
is
like-
also in evidence.
Sounds like somebody we know. Holy mackerel.
You took this picture of Mr. Depp as well, didn't you?
I did.
You decided to take a picture of Mr. Depp asleep with ice cream spilled all over him, right?
He was nodding off, and I was worried about how bad the medications and the medication change and the drug use had gotten, where he wouldn't even feel ice cream or a lit cigarette on him, and it scared me.
So you took
Really?
a picture of it.
Yes, I wanted him to get help, and Johnny's surrounded by enablers who clean up after him. and
Objection,
protect
Your
him.
Honor, I'm going to move to strike everything after yes, that she took this picture.
Still responsive here.
The question was, did you take this picture?
All right, I'll sustain the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. This isn't a very flattering picture of Mr. Depp, is it?
No, it's not.
You wouldn't agree that this is, or you would agree with me that this is an embarrassing scene, right?
Yes, I think it's a part of getting help is looking at it, seeing it.
But you sent this picture to one of your friends, didn't you?
I don't recall.
If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 252. We'll only be looking at the portion of this document. So if we could please call it Defendant's Exhibit 252A.
252A.
And for ease, we've gone ahead and redacted it.
Yes, I was asking for support. That's correct.
There's no question yet, Ms. Hurd. So directing your attention, I'm going to move to admit Exhibit 252A.
Any objection? Any objection, Ms. Frederick? Could you turn your microphone again? Sorry. Thank you.
I need to see it first because I
Okay.
don't know what they redacted.
252.
We redacted the identifiers and anything that's not Ms. Hurd's
Up or down on it.
text messages, consistent with hearsay.
You remember we approach?
Okay.
Ugh. Hmm. Well, yeah, she's in a hot seat, but hasn't gotten bad yet. Just wait till we get to the part where they ask her about her shitting on the bed. And just like we said, she blamed it on the dog. And yeah, that's not weird, taking a lot of pictures of somebody sleeping. Like you're not trying to help, but snapping a photo first. She's full of it. I don't think anybody likes that woman right now. I don't think anybody believes her. I don't know why I feel so protective of Johnny right now. It's like, how dare you mess with Johnny Depp? Come on. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amber Heard in a cross-examination. This is the good stuff here. All right.
Sir, does this refresh your recollection that you did in fact send this picture to your friend Rocky Pennington?
Yes, I did.
And you sent it to her on August 7th, 2014 at 11:24 p.m., correct?
That is correct.
So you sent Miss Pennington this picture of Mr. Depp with ice cream spilled on him, right?
That is correct.
And you wrote, quote, "This is what I've been dealing with," end quote. Did I read that right?
You did read that right. That's correct.
And this is you protecting Mr. Depp.
That is me getting support from my best friend.
This is you supporting Mr. Depp.
This is me getting support from my best friend. I also need support.
You weren't afraid the monster would get upset that you took this picture?
This was Opiate Johnny. This is a different version of him. This is Opiate on the Nod Johnny.
And you weren't afraid that Opiate Johnny, or the monster as you called him, would get upset that you sent this picture to your friend?
Well, he's all of those things. Of course he could get upset. Of course that's scary to me, of course.
Didn't
But
stop you from sending this picture to your friend, did it?
why would it?
Wow.
Mr. Depp's right hand is in his pocket, right, Ms. Heard? In this
Yes,
picture?
that's correct.
You also showed this jury pictures of cocaine. Do you recall that?
Yes, that's correct.
So please take a look at one of those. If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 167A, which is already in evidence. Directing your attention, Ms. Heard, to the photograph. This is a photograph you took in March of 2013, right?
That is correct.
And this was taken at your apartment in Orange.
Yes,
And this is your breakfast table.
that is correct.
And it's your testimony that Mr. Depp left this breakfast table just the way you took it.
That is correct.
So this is what the table looked like after Mr. Depp had been doing cocaine.
Well, clearly he has yet to snort these lines.
There are 4 lines of cocaine on this table, right, Ms. Heard?
In this picture, I see 4 lines.
There isn't any cocaine residue around those lines, right?
Not that I can tell, no.
Doesn't really look like anyone's been doing cocaine off that table, does it?
With all due respect, I'm not sure you know how that works.
I'm asking if you do. You've testified you've done cocaine.
I have.
Doesn't really look like Mr. Depp or anyone was doing cocaine off that table, does it?
I beg to differ with you on that. When you snort cocaine, typically it goes into your nose.
And
It
there's
doesn't stay on the
residue.
table.
There's residue from that cocaine when your lips and nose touch the table, right?
Well, the tampon applicator next to the driver's license that you see is a device that I believe my sister had taught him to use in order to put the cocaine in your nose.
Mr. Depp is a pretty heavy smoker, right?
He is.
And that's a cigarette in the ashtray in the back there, back right.
Yes, it looks like one of his hand rolls.
There's no other cigarettes in that ashtray, are there?
I see one cigarette.
The one that's not smoked.
That's correct.
There's no ash in that ashtray either, is there?
Not that I can tell in this picture.
It's pretty clean.
In this picture, it looks like it, yes.
It's a pretty neat table. Wouldn't you agree?
Depends on what you would call neat, I suppose.
And you sent this picture to your friend, Rocky Pennington, as well, didn't you?
I sure did.
And when you sent it, you said, quote, "Look at my morning," or something like that. Is that right?
Yay for mornings.
So you have a habit of sending staged photographs to your friend Rocky, don't you?
I had a habit of communicating with my best friend about what was going on in my life.
You don't have any pictures of Mr. Depp actually consuming cocaine, do you?
I don't think I have a picture of him mid-snort. No.
You don't even have any pictures of Mr. Depp with cocaine,
What do you mean by that?
holding cocaine, standing next to cocaine, sitting next to cocaine.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you haven't shown any of those pictures like that to the jury, have you?
I don't know. No, I haven't.
And you were never able to catch Mr. Depp with cocaine on film either, were you?
I never tried.
But you were able to catch him sleeping, right?
I have seen him pass out in all sorts of places, yes.
And you also captured a video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen that was played again for this jury today, beating up some cabinets. Do you recall that?
Sorry, say that again?
You recall capturing Mr. Depp in the kitchen of one of his homes, beating up some cabinets?
Yes. Slamming things around, yes.
So you took that video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen, right?
I did.
And you took it on one of your iPad devices?
I took it on my iPad.
You were deposed in August of 2016 in connection with your divorce proceedings from Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
And you will recall that the video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen was released online the day before your deposition in August of 2016, don't you?
That's correct.
You're the one who released that video.
Incorrect.
Isn't that true?
That's incorrect. I flew in from another place at the time. I remember learning about it when I landed.
So it's just a coincidence that the video you took of Mr. Depp was released the day before you were deposed in connection with your divorce from Mr. Depp.
I absolutely had nothing to do with that. I wouldn't even know how to do something like that.
You settled your divorce from Mr. Depp in August of 2016, right?
That sounds right.
And in connection with that settlement, you received $7 million from Mr. Depp, true?
That's correct.
And then
6.8 exactly.
your settlement amount was $7 million.
That's correct.
And then you released a statement in which you claimed you would be donating the entire $7 million to charity, right?
That's correct.
You stated you would be donating half of the $7 million to the ACLU,
That's correct.
and you would be donating the other half to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
That is correct.
And you also stated, with respect to the $7 million divorce settlement, that money played no role except for the extent that you could donate the money to charity.
Yes, that's correct.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1259. This is an article entitled Amber Heard Donates Johnny Depp Divorce Settlement to Charity. Read her statement in full. Is that correct?
That's what the title says, yes.
Directing your attention to the portion on the second page where it says, quote, read the statement below. Is that the statement you released, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I move to admit the statement and the article as redacted.
Objection, hearsay.
It's her statement.
This is not her statement. This is
She just testified, Your Honor, that it's her statement.
May I say the full?
Everything else is redacted.
Okay, then I have no objection.
All right, 1259 in evidence as redacted.
The statement reads, as described in the restraining order and divorce settlement, money played no role for me personally and never has, except to the extent that I could donate it to charity, and in doing so, hopefully help those less able to defend themselves. As reported in the media, the amount received in the divorce was $7 million, and $7 million is being donated. This is over and above any funds that I have given away in the past and will continue to give away in the future. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct. I don't remember that last line, but I have no, it doesn't stand out to me as wrong.
There's nothing inaccurate in the statement.
Not that I recognize, no.
Mr. Depp donated $100,000 of the divorce settlement directly to the ACLU. Is that right?
Right at the beginning of the divorce settlement, he donated $100,000 to each charity on my behalf or towards my contribution.
So $100,000
To each.
To the ACLU.
And to the Children's Hospital.
And in response, you publicly demanded that Mr. Depp pay the divorce settlement directly to you instead of the charities, right?
That was always the agreement, actually, is for him to pay me directly. It was not his money as per the settlement agreement to give away and reap a tax benefit from. I said if he wants to do it and give to charity all of a sudden, then he should pay the correct amount and not try to get a big tax break for it. So effectively for his tax bracket, he should be paying double that amount to the charity directly. And if he wanted to pay the charity directly, he could. He could do that, was fine with me, but he would need to pay the adjusted amount.
Ultimately, the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement was paid directly to you, right?
Over time, yes.
And Mr. Depp didn't end up paying the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement directly to the charities you identified.
That is correct. He paid them installments to me.
You stopped that from happening, didn't you?
I don't understand what your question is. I'm sorry.
You stopped Mr. Depp from paying the charities that you had named directly.
That is incorrect. I said if you want to pay the charities directly, pay the adjusted amount, or pay as per our agreement in the settlement or in the divorce, as per our agreement.
You also
And he
publicly
chose to do the former, not the latter. I mean, the other way around.
You also publicly stated that the $7 million divorce settlement should be paid to the charities immediately in full, right?
If he wanted to pay it in the way that he was suggesting, yes.
And you said publicly that the payments to the charities should not be drawn out over many years, right?
I said that I don't recall the exact words that I used, but basically that he shouldn't use this as a novel interest in getting a tax break. That if he wanted to do that and not pay me the settlement, that was fine, but he would have to pay the adjusted amount and not make it, a commitment he would not fulfill or try to avoid in some other way.
And that's because you wanted the entire world to think that you were donating every penny of the $7 million divorce settlement as soon as you received it from Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
No, I was going to be receiving it in installments, and I would be paying in installments the donations.
In fact, you released a statement in response to Mr. Depp's $100,000 donations to the ACLU and CHLA, didn't you?
I don't recall.
Let's see if we can refresh your recollection. If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1260. This is an article entitled Amber Heard and Johnny Depp Row Over Divorce Donations. And if I could direct your attention to where it says, I believe it's on the second page. Her spokeswoman responded in a statement. The language that follows the statement you released.
Objection, hearsay, spokeswoman, it's not her.
A spokesperson is an exception, Your Honor.
Want to come forward?
I don't know, there's something shady about that whole business. Something's not right. Something's not right.
You released a statement
Your Honor,
through.
may we approach again?
Okay.
Yeah, and this is not even the good part yet. Sorry. I think this is going to roll into tomorrow. Well, obviously, she'll be on it for a few days. It's going to be 5 p.m. where they're at. So they're going to pull the plug on this pretty soon. Like if she's trying to look all innocent to the jury.
Before we ask the next question, I'll just hand you a copy of this one.
I want to see it before you ask.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. That's exactly what I said. Your Honor, would you like to see one as well?
No, that's all right. That's fine. Thank you. Could you please turn your microphone on? I'm sorry, Ms. Burdock.
Your Honor, they gave me a redacted, but I don't have the unredacted to be able to see the full
I
document.
plan to admit it or ask that it be admitted in redacted form. I'm taking away any hearsay and I'm just trying to lay the foundation that this is a statement she released through a spokesperson.
How would I know whether there's more to it that shouldn't be redacted, Your Honor, if I don't see the full document?
Your Honor, the witness can testify as to whether this is a full statement or not.
The witness can't do, we have the right to be able to see the document.
All right, do you have a document that's not redacted?
We can pull it up on our computers.
Okay,
Just give us a moment, Your Honor.
all right.
I can represent this is the full statement that's reported.
Give her an opportunity to look at the unredacted one.
Thank you.
Should have had that ready. Should have had that ready. Just saying.
Sorry, Ms. Barlow. May I approach?
Yes.
So, Your Honor, can we have a copy of this?
Yeah, you can get a copy of that
Happily.
later
Yes.
today, okay?
Right,
All
I
right.
mean, I think she should be giving us copies of the full.
Well, I
thing
understand, but
before.
we'll take care of that, but
Okay.
as of right now, can we continue?
We can, Your Honor, but I have an objection because of, there's some quotation marks missing.
Okay, come forward.
Oh boy. I don't want them to delay so much that they'll just call it a day. I'm not ready to be done with this yet. Don't forget, get your t-shirts. I can't share that right now. Let's see.
All right. So directing your attention, Ms. Hurd, where it says her spokeswoman responded in a statement.
Your
The
Honor,
language that follows.
Your Honor, again, she can't read it. She has to show it
The
to
language
her.
that follows.
If you want to lay a
Is this-
foundation to that, go ahead.
You released a statement after Mr. Depp donated $100,000 to the ACLU and $100,000 to CHLA, correct, Ms. Hurd?
I think so, yes.
And the language that follows is the statement you released in response to Mr. Depp's donations, right?
I don't know if this is the official statement. I have no idea.
The statement that starts at
Objection, Your Honor.
Amber Heard. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Would you please read that to yourself, Ms. Heard?
Yes.
Did you read all the way to the very bottom where the last word is supported?
Yes.
That's a statement you released through your spokeswoman after Mr. Depp made the donations to the CHLA and the ACLU. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I do not recall exactly what my statement was. I don't disagree with anything in the statement, but I just simply don't recall what the statement was we released.
Is there anything inaccurate in that statement, Ms. Heard?
No.
I'm going to move to admit.
Objection, Your Honor, lack of foundation.
I'll overrule the objection, 12-1260, and evidence over objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Statement reads, Amber Heard appreciates Johnny Depp's novel interest in supporting two of her favorite charities, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union for Domestic Violence, and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. This is great and unexpected news. And it continues. However, if Johnny wishes to change the settlement agreement, we must insist that he honor the full amount by donating $14 million to charity, which, after accounting for his tax deduction, is equal to his $7 million payment obligation to Amber. And it continues. We would also insist that the full amount be paid immediately and not drawn out over many years. Anything less would be a transparent attempt by Johnny's counsel, Laura Wasser and Patty Glazer, to reduce their client's true payment by half under the guise of newfound concern for charities that he has never previously supported, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Thank you. After this, you kept commenting about the donation of your divorce settlement, right?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay. You spoke about donating your divorce settlement on a Danish TV show, correct?
I believe I said I had, I believe I said I donated it to charity, but it was already printed or already commented on and stated in the press. I had already released that information in the press. I think I just confirmed it on that show.
You appeared on a show called RTL Late Night, right?
I don't recall what show it was.
If we could please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 346, which is a portion of your appearance on this program. And we would ask that it be moved into evidence and ask for
any
permission to
objection?
Your
publish
Honor,
it.
it contains, it has hearsay, it contains other communications with other individuals.
Your Honor, if we may approach
Okay.
very briefly.
Boy. Yeah, I put those couple T-shirts out there where Johnny Depp said he responded to the prosecutor by saying, "You were there," and I put that on a T-shirt. And also Johnny's attorney, who's always, "I object," objection, hearsay, objection, leading. And I put those on a T-shirt. Those are available for sale. They're free shipping today. And you can still get the Blacked Party T-shirts. Now, those are going to be going away real soon, probably in the next day or so. But all of those you can get right now, or you can get a Manny Behind the Mic T-shirt. And there's a couple others there, and pretty much a lot of colors that you want. Anyway, free shipping, so that's good to get that today. So you don't have to bother with the shipping on that. So you can go to mannysmerch.com and they're all there. So get them while the shipping is free. That's what I say. So she got $1 million for. She got $1 million for Aquaman, isn't that right? And Aquaman made a ton. We do over $1 billion. I wonder how much her residual check is after that. You know, her bonus, the residual checks that they get for that. I wonder how much she made off that. For her not to need $7 million in a settlement and just give it away. Must be nice.
So if we could please play and publish to the jury Plaintiff's Exhibit 346.
All right, 346 in evidence. Good.
There allegedly were all kinds of accusations flying your way when you said all this, and then there was a divorce.
$7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
ACLU is a human rights organization.
Sorry, ACLU is a prominent organization, nonprofit organization in the United States. Yeah. It's called the American Civil Liberties Union, and they work on behalf of marginalized communities on the ground and in legislative reform.
Right.
And
well, more power to you, because that's something that I've never heard of.
I wanted nothing.
This interview was in October of 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't recall when it was.
It was in 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't remember when this was done.
This was after you had received the full $7 million of your divorce settlement for Mr. Depp, wasn't it?
Again, without knowing when it was recorded, I have no idea.
The $7 million divorce settlement was paid to you in full by February of 2018, right?
That's correct.
Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1458, which is already in evidence. This is the deal point memorandum from your divorce settlement, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, that's what it looks like.
And if we go down to the bottom of page 4, there's a heading labeled Equalization Payment. Do you see that?
Yes.
And underneath,
Why does it keep stopping?
so the first payment is scheduled for August 31st, 2016, and that's $200,000, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made that payment directly.
You got to turn on your microphone, Ms. Berderhoff. I'm not going to hear you.
Objection to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to that.
Okay.
It's a he literally testified to it in court.
I'll overrule objection. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made the payment directly to the ACLU and CHLA, correct?
I believe so.
I don't know why the sound keeps going
These were all
up.
made to you, weren't they?
That is correct.
And the final payment of $2.3 million is on February 1st, 2018, right?
The final payment, yes.
And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule.
I'm going to object to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to.
I'll overrule the objection. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule, right?
I don't believe they were. He might have
That's
testified
not my
to
question, Ms. Heard. My question was, you were here in court when Mr. White testified under oath that all the payments were made on schedule.
I was here every day in court. I heard his testimony, yes.
Okay. So back to October of 2018, this was before Mr. Depp sued you for defamation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
He didn't sue you until after the op-ed came out in December of 2018, right?
He sued me in 2019.
And the op-ed came out in December of 2018.
That is correct.
So in October of 2018, you had received your entire $7 million divorce settlement. You would
That-
agree with me.
That is correct.
And you hadn't yet been sued by Mr. Depp.
This is October, correct.
So in this October 2018 interview, you said that you had, quote, donated, end quote, your entire divorce settlement to charity, right?
That's correct.
And in fact, your exact words were, quote, $7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, end quote, right?
That's correct. I made that statement as soon as I got a divorce and we reached the settlement. That's when I pledged it, right then.
And you say this because you, quote, wanted nothing, end quote.
That is correct.
But you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
That's incorrect.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety
No,
of the
Ms. Heard,
settlement,
that's
$7
not
million
my
to
question.
charity, and I
Ms. Heard,
intend to
Ms.
fulfill
Heard,
those obligations.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question. Please,
What was
try
your
to answer my
question?
question. Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million, donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another. They're
But I
the same
don't.
thing.
Ms. Heard, I don't use it synonymously.
That's how donations are paid.
Ms. Heard, respectfully, that's not my question. As of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the ACLU. Yes or no?
I have not yet.
And as of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, correct?
I have not yet. Johnny sued me.
So as of today, you have not donated, paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
And that's because you did want something, didn't you?
I didn't want anything and I didn't get anything.
You wanted Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it, wasn't interested in it. I loved Johnny, that's why I was with him.
You wanted praise for donating the money, right?
That's incorrect.
You wanted good press.
In general, one does want good press, yes.
You wanted to seem altruistic publicly.
Wasn't my interest. My interest is in my name and clearing my name. And at the time, I was being called a liar and my motives were being questioned. I did see it as important to clear that up. I wanted to make a statement to make sure that there was not any doubt that I couldn't be labeled these things just because Johnny was a bigger star and had more publicity reach.
You wanted to remind everyone of your claims of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
No, I wanted to move on with my life.
You wanted to make those claims seem believable.
They are believable. They were
You wanted
believable.
them to be seen, you wanted to be seen, as a noble victim of domestic violence,
I
didn't
have
you?
never wanted to be seen as a victim. Nor have I
You-
ever called myself one.
You testified under oath that, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote, didn't you?
That's correct. I pledged the entirety.
No. Ms. Heard, my questions. Your counsel will have time to redirect you after. You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct. I pledged the entirety.
I'm going to move to strike everything after yes.
Are,
No. Ms. Heard,
I
this is
did it.
really inappropriate.
I'll sustain the objection and we'll just move forward.
Thank you.
Let's move forward. Next question.
Under oath, that statement wasn't true, was it, Ms. Heard?
I'm sorry, I don't follow your question. Sorry.
You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote. That statement wasn't true.
It is true. I pledged the entirety to charity.
The statement.
When you say you buy a house, you don't pay for
Ms.
the
Hurd,
entire
Ms.
house
Hurd,
at one time.
respectfully,
You pay it
I'm
over
not
time.
asking, Ms. Hurd.
All right, next question, please.
Thank you. That statement isn't true today, as you sit here today, is it?
It is true. I pledged the entirety.
But you didn't
charity.
donate it.
Unfortunately,
You didn't donate it. It's a yes or no.
I haven't been able to to fulfill those
So that's a no,
obligations.
right, Ms. Hurd?
I made the pledge. I want to be very clear. I pledged the entirety. I haven't been able to fulfill those pledges because I've been sued.
You had all of the $7 million for 13 months before Mr. Depp sued you, and you chose not to pay it to the charities you pledged it to. Is that correct, Ms.
I
Hurd?
disagree with your characterization of that.
Too bad.
Let's look at your sworn testimony from the UK.
Pledged is different from did you actually pay it? Pay it out.
All right, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ms. Vasquez, do you want me to close the shades?
That would be
Okay.
wonderful.
There's this light coming across then.
So I appreciate that.
Has to be a
It's
little
probably good
uncomfortable.
light. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
This is your third witness statement that you submitted in the UK action, right, Ms. Hurd?
Correct.
And this statement was made under oath, true?
That is true.
I'm directing your attention to the last page of that statement. That's your signature, right?
Yes, it is.
So you made this sworn statement on February 26, 2020.
That's correct.
And directing your attention to paragraph 4. It says, quote, I remained financially independent from him the whole time we were together, and the entire amount of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
The him you were referring to is Mr. Depp.
That is correct.
Most of the money that was donated to the ACLU and CHLA in your name came from someone else. Isn't that right?
I don't know what you mean by most of.
Well, at least $500,000 that was donated to the ACLU in your name wasn't paid by you, right?
I believe Elon made a donation in my honor on one of the years.
Yeah, and it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement, right?
No, nor did it count towards my pledge.
And at least $500,000 that was donated to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles in your name wasn't paid by you either.
Right, those were made at the same time.
And it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement.
Nor did it count to my 3.5 obligation.
Those $500,000 payments came from your new boyfriend, Elon Musk, right?
I don't know if he was a new boyfriend at the time.
You got him to pay part of what you promised to these two charities, didn't you?
Incorrect.
Because you wanted to keep at least some of the $7 million divorce settlement for yourself, right?
You're very wrong about that.
I think this, if Your Honor is
Okay, you
fine,
said
this is a good
it's a
stopping
breaking
point.
point. Okay, that's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll stop here for the evening. Remember tonight, do not do any outside research and do not discuss the case with anybody. I know these days are a little longer, and I appreciate your patience and your taking care of everything here. Please take care of yourself tonight, okay? And we'll see you in the morning at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. That's 8 a.m. for us. This is going to be good tomorrow. I mean, it's whoever's not interested in this, it's just is very, very interesting.
All right. And again, Ms. Hurd, since you're still on the witness stand, please do not discuss your testimony with anybody, to include your attorneys, okay? All right, 9 o'clock tomorrow then? All right, we'll see you at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, see now, to avoid her bumping into Johnny Depp out front there, they got her going out that back way, around the back to the other side. Because she freaked out last week when that happened. It's kind of silly. You go, Johnny. All right. We're going to wrap this up tomorrow. Maybe I'll be back tonight. I don't know. 10:30. We'll see. Probably will. Probably will tonight. And for sure tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. as this trial continues and Amber Heard is in the hot seat. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with me today. It was awesome. Don't forget, get your t-shirts. Free shipping today. Get them while they're free shipping.